Hey everybody, it is Mr. Miller. I'm going to add a camera here really quick. Wow, that is too big. Okay, I've got it flipped the way that I want. Let's make that less the entire screen. There we go. So, today I am going to be putting together an overlay for the stream. Kind of talking about some of the math that goes into that. I'm going to be using GIMP, which is a open source, pretty sweet free video editing software. It is not as good as Photoshop, but it is free. And there's something really wonderful to be said about free. If you have math questions while we're going, please don't hesitate to tweet at TrekTV. Bunched up vest there. It's not good looking. Okay. Don't hesitate to tweet at TrekTV, and I'll answer any questions I get while I'm live streaming here. So, I use GIMP. I use GIMP because it's free and it's pretty good. I'll be pulling in a screenshot from Minecraft because that's the one I use the most. I'm going to be using the most for this. Mr. Daly, when you were here, you see behind me is my work stuff here. Okay. So, we probably need logos and stuff. Thank you, Mr. Daly, for sending me stuff while I'm on the air. Okay, so interesting. We're going to use this one. So I'm sure that I'm supposed to have a high-res version of that, but here we are. Yeah, every time that beeps, that's you messaging me. Okay. So, we got kind of a decision to make, right? Like, I'm going to be up here talking while we stream, and it's going to cover up part of the screen. We don't want it to be too intense. So we've got options. We could put it here. We could put it here. We could put it here. Or we could put it here. For obvious reasons, putting it right in the middle doesn't make sense, because then whatever you're doing on the screen is going to be blocked. If you put it in the bottom left, it tends to not block things in most applications. So that's probably where we're going to put it just for the sake of today. We can always move it around if we need to. Well, let's start it there. Webcam is 9:5 as a ratio. So we're going to click fixed aspect ratio 9:5. What that means is, so this width right here is 9/5 as long as this, and this is 5/9 as long, right? So for every 9 units, the one thing is wide, it's tall 5. So we kind of have an option here. Now, just for the sake of it, I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer. That'll look like this. And I'm just going to fill this in with black. You know what? That's not going to be obvious enough. I'm going to fill it in with a color I don't really have up here. I'm going to do maybe a super bright orange if we can find one. There. Now we know exactly where this goes. I'm going to hold Control, scroll my mouse wheel. That's going to help me zoom in. At the very bottom left corner. Now instead of fixed aspect ratio, I'm going to do a fixed size. I'm going to do maybe 20 by 20. So let's see how big that gives us. Now, okay. One thing to note is that I do 1920 by 1080 is my resolution. It's kind of your regular widescreen. It is also the resolution done by current high-res TVs, not the super high def, but the regular high def. HD TV, 1080p. That's 1920 wide by 1080 tall. So we're going to put these here and here. Then here we're going to take this. This is still 20 by 20, and again, we're going to mark off our edges. Actually, we don't need it there, do we? See, that's what I get. Okay. So now I'm going to grab this orange. I'm going to auto crop this layer, so now it's just this way. And we're going to put it right here. That's going to give us our, and how big is this layer? .597. That's not like a reasonable width. Oh well, works okay for what we're doing. So I'm going to fix size 20 by 20. Okay. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to pop my top right corner. I'm going much slower than I normally would. But then if you want to try something like this on your own, you can. What we're doing is I'm going to make a place for the webcam to go while I'm streaming. I want you to be able to see my face, but I also want the webcam to kind of look like it's part of the, it's intentionally where it is, you know. So we're going to start with a new layer right here, and we're going to select all this good stuff, or we will once I uncheck that. Okay, so somewhere there's a TDA logo, right? That we wanted to use, yeah. I'd go ahead and just drag that in, maybe. Copy image, paste this as a new layer. So we can either go white, which I think is what we'll do, or we could go with this blue or this gray. Any of those would look fine. The advantage of doing it in the white is I don't have to recolor all this, and I'm kind of lazy. So for now, we're going to pop this sucker in white on this new layer. We'll call this mask base. Okay. Now we know that that's where our webcam is going to be. The thing is that we want to identify who we are. So let's go with a fixed size. So that, we could do that. That wouldn't be actually too big, all told. And this should give us, nope. So we want our to be just at the edge there and there. Okay, cool. Now the other thing I'm going to do, put one over here at the edge right there. Okay. And there, and then in the middle here, which is there. Looks like. Yeah, looks good. Okay. So we're going to take the top left, the bottom right, right? So this is our 4 quadrants, 0 to 90, 90 to 180, 180 to 270, 270 to 360. If you're looking at quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4 of your grids. We are going to, oh, we don't want those on that layer. We want them on this layer. We're going to paint those in. Okay. And then we're going to bring back our circle. And we're going to fill that in too. Okay, so now we've got this nice rounded look. Now this, we want to bring it all the way over, right? Now here's the thing. We are going to want a rounded look over here too to match that. We can't do the same 100 by 100 because it's not as tall over here. So we're going to go 50 by 50. Okay. Now, I'm going to fill that in. Now you're going to see this area over here isn't quite filled in. It's okay. We can take our paintbrush, just fill that in. And now we're going to grab this and we're going to drag it all the way over to here. Boom. And fill all that stuff in. Okay. So, the question is, have we made this large enough to do what we need it to do? And we'll find out. We're going to find out by scaling this. Layer, scale layer. Let's call this 100 by 100. Okay. So that could probably fit in there, but it's going to be super small. First thing I'm going to do is just get rid of the Digital Academy. I know it's our logo, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for doing that, right? I'm going to chop off this a little bit so it rounds off, right? Okay. So now it looks like that. Got the nice little Trekka right there, space right here. And there are a couple things that we will need. So I'm going to want my name on there so you know who I am. And I'm going to want the Twitter call so that you know how to contact me. So I can add some text with the actual program. The actual OBS, which is what I use for broadcasting. So, okay. I'm actually okay with how that is so far. Now, here's the fun part. We're going to go ahead and bring in one right there and one right here at the edge here. I use guides all the time. That way, if I remove a piece, I can still kind of see where everything goes. So what I'm going to do here is from right there, and then I'm going to go down to this corner. Notice those are now both selected. I'm zooming in, and I'm going to add this corner. I'm going to add this corner. So I'm going to have some curve around the edges of where our webcam goes. Now I'm going to add this all the way down to over to here. And now we've got almost everything we want, but lastly we need this over to here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use the use the delete key to cut away that from our layer. So now what our overlay actually looks like is this. Okay. And that's where our webcam's going to go. We're going to put this, we're going to put the video game in the background, and then we're going to put our webcam there, and then we're going to put this overlay on the top, right? So we're combining circles with the rectangle that goes around. This is all basically a combination of circles and rectangles. So you could make a pretty easy argument that we're thinking about our geometry here. I like to drop shadows. It's overdone, but I do it anyway. So, judge all you want. Maybe. There it is. Okay. Offset 0, 0. What that means is it's going to be centered on our thing, and then we're going to get a blur outwards. Oops. So I goofed up. I allowed it to resize the picture, which I don't want. So now what you see is I've got a little bit of a drop shadow here. I'm going to place that underneath. And now what you'll see is that it's picking up just the white and dropping the shadow from that, or just the empty spaces. So the problem with that is that you have some places in here that don't have a shadow, and they really, really should, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to select, we're going to shrink by 1. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, oh, well, what happens when there are places that now it's overlapping on top of our border, right? And that's not helpful because we don't want that either. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the drop shadow and lay it underneath the base so that we get a perfect drop shadow, but we also don't have it on top. So it's going to serve both of our purposes. Okay? So it layers a little bit on top of the game. I think I want this base to not be completely square. And I also really do want it to say at DirecTV here. But I'm going to put that in post-production because maybe we'll change it if somebody else is running a show. I don't know. So we'll just have to see. I do like to put in a semi-transparent rectangle here for the name to go on. But I don't think I'll do it on this, so I can do that in post-production too. Okay. So here's what we got. Remember, if you are watching, you can send in a math question. We will talk about it. While we're doing this. Okay. So I'm going to File and then Export. And so File, Export. I'm going to do it to the desktop. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to do it to my design folder because that's where I put everything. Okay. So now, what we're going to do I'm going to make this. So when I turn this on, this is going to be the streaming program. In the middle, it'll show what the monitor currently shows, so be careful. This is going to give us a tunnel effect. And I'm going to put this over top of it, over top of the actual display area, because it's going to block some of that off. So I'm going to add, well, okay, an image. I'm going to call this overlay. I'm going to browse, and I'm going to find my image real quick. It's in design, streaming, video overlays. Okay, cool. Now, to turn off my monitor for a second. Now I've got to move my webcam. Move my webcam so that it's underneath, and we can stretch it out here. There we go. Now we look kind of professional. Boom. Okay. So the next thing that I would like to do is I would like to make a kind of a waiting to stream sort of page, right? Like a file that fires up when the stream is not live, that sort of thing. So we got a couple of choices. Once again, I think I'm going to pull up that Trekka logo. I'm going to paste that in so we've got it. So for the previous one, we had. Oh, did I close it and not save it? Boy, that was a bummer. I used a gaming background and then just said, just said coming soon. So a couple different ways to do it. What do we want to do here? How do we want it to look? I really probably should have thought through that a little bit first. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of backgrounds on my computer. I'm going to look for some things that make sense for our stream. Just to start with, this is like a base. Here's Ginormous Robot from a game. There's a mage from a game. Mario. So there have been a lot of games that specifically will let you stream their copyrighted material because they want to encourage other people to go to the game, and those streams do that. So we're going to pull from content that they've basically given the right to stream because of it profiting them. But we also want to find something that is appropriate for what we're doing. So I think I got some Minecraft stuff in here somewhere. I gotta find it, but I think we do. Wow, I really need to... Okay, so here's one, right? That one's pretty okay. Let's see what other backgrounds we got here that we can use. Kerbal Space Program, which is awesome. If you have Steam, you got a little money to drop. Kerbal Space Program is an amazing physics-based space simulator, which we will play soon. Let me see if there's anything else we can use. I like to do League of Legends, but all of them are very, people have bow and arrows or something. Maybe we'll stick with these two for now. We'll stick with these two for now. Okay. So we're going to send this to the back. We're going to send this to the back. That way we can kind of see what our logos look like. So let's drop. Bet you that's actually pretty annoying, sorry. The clicking noise. Let's drop a white background in. Send it back, send it back. Send it back. Okay. And then we could do a similar thing here, where we bring over a white border. That would actually give us a chance to, let's see if we stretch this up to here. And same here. What that would give us. So we have the option of just doing a bar at the bottom. We could also center these height-wise. And that would look like this. Let's duplicate this slide and then I can get rid of the Minecraft one behind it. So here we have three options, right? We can put this here. We can put it here at the top. We can stretch it all the way across. And send it back. So the advantage of that is that everything scales right. The disadvantage is that you lose part of your picture. And in some that might be okay. For instance, in this one it's not a big deal, but for some it's going to be more of a big deal. So I do want to kind of put like this. You know, the other option is to even do a little bit of a window there on the other side too. So let's see what happens when we align that middle. Or align that, not middle, center. There we go. So, I don't like that as much. Alright, I lied to you. Let's do that instead. Shape outline. Shape fill. Can we do an inner shadow if we don't have a fill? Will it even be visible? Seems like it would be most noticeable over on this edge over here. And I don't see anything. So let's say if we had white. Yeah, see? It goes away there. So, another option is to have a gradient that goes from black to transparent, right? So let's have it be radial, so it would be there. So that gives us kind of a fisheye. Looks a little bit like that. So I'm going to move OBS over to the other side so I can... Oops. Okay, so let's take a look. That looks fine, I guess, for the stream. I think honestly it looks just as good without it. So we'll do something like that. And then we can put a little box here for the actual time to go in. You know, this actually might be a better thing to do here as well. So let's merge that down. Let's merge that down. So now we have our base. Okay. And I'm going to save that really quick. And then we're going to save as, we'll call this one, call this one BRB. We'll be super clever. Okay. So, okay. Don't need that, don't need that. Don't really need that even. So let's start with our overlays, or our pictures. Maybe. 1. And 2. 3. Oh, he's just sleeping. Oh, maybe it's a little dark. Use League of Legends one we can use. That's probably okay for now. Okay. So, start with the overlay layer. Let's say fixed size. We need 1080 because we need to go from top to bottom. So let's look at what 200 wide would look like. So it would look like that. That's going to be too thin, right? It's going to look a little weird. So let's try 400. 400 looks better. See, that's what I get for using the old one. The old guides are here. Move them off. Move them off. Okay, take 2. And I'm going to fill that in white. Okay, select all this. Filters, repeat, drop shadow. Right now. Not too intense one, but just enough, you know. And you could actually, this button duplicates it. So if you want it to be darker, you could do that. You could also take the opacity and you could darken it. So those are a couple options. Layer to image size. Okay. Well, that's a good one. So once again, we're going to bring our Trekka logo in, maybe. New layer, layer, scale layer. We made this, what, 400? Move that guy right to the top. Boom. Okay. Nice, clean, simple. Okay. So we're going to change our text color to black for a second. We're going to have to move it down so maybe you can see it. Where are you, letters? Okay. So we're going to want it to be much bigger than this. And I believe we are at Trekka TV. Okay. So we want a font that's similar to one of these. I think the bold one would be better, but I really don't know if we can find that one. Because I don't know what font that is. So we'll look at a couple. We want to kind of match as close as we can. We can look here at the T to see how closely we're matching. That's okay. It's definitely not the same thing. Definitely not the same thing. So instead of ultra bold, what if we just did bold? Well, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. I'm sure the design team will tell me what their font is after I'm done with all this stuff. So if anyone knows, feel free to tell me. But, you know what, we can use this for now. Not ideal. It's not exactly the same, but it'll work for now. We want this to be at 400. Perfect, nailed it. And we want another guide at 200 because 200 is going to be the exact center. And that way when we do something like this, we can grab it and we can center it on the 200. Okay. Now, we want this stuff to be this color. And so we want it to be that color. That was weird. That's not the right color. So what do we have? 240, 327. $240, $327. There we go. We'll just do it that way. Okay. So now we're looking like that. I really, really wish I knew what this font was, because it looks a lot better to color match, or to font match. Send questions to. We want that. That almost looks like an Arial thin or something. Do we have an Arial thin? Okay. There's a way of. There we go. Nope, there we go. Okay. Let's drop a Twitter logo in instead. Just to the left of and again, this is another thing that generally everyone's pretty cool with, since again what they are trying to do is get you to feed them business. So there are certain things where people are more or less happy to let you use their copyrighted stuff. If for some reason Twitter decides they are unhappy with it, believe me, we'll be happy to pull it. You can share your life if you want. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna have to save this and then import it in. That's okay. Let me see if we can so I'm gonna look up Twitter. We love that you love Twitter. We want to make it use. Look at you download. Okay. By using the Twitter trademarks resources, you agree to follow the guidelines of the brand. Okay. So, privacy, content, your rights using the services. Okay. So, Twitter actually distributes their logos and stuff for you to use, which is pretty cool. Okay, what happens when we pull that in? Okay, perfect. So, Twitter gives us a file, and we are going to scale this down to go beside this, right? So layer, scale layer, let's call it 100 by 100. We put that here. We're going to just remove. You would think that would have removed our actual. Maybe. Okay. So let's shrink this down enough that we can put it beside. And let's see how we look. Put our bird here. And we're going to kind of just space it about the same thing from the side. We're going to make this right justify, and then when we make it bigger, it should go to the nope. Okay. It was worth a shot. Okay. We're going to merge these together, that way when we move them. There we go. So we actually want to move this to the left again. And voila. Okay. So that's 400 wide, which means 1520 by 1080 for our background images that go on it. And still, if you happen to be checking in, feel free to tweet your questions at Trekka TV right here. You can't see that. That's funny. At Trekka TV right here. Okay. So let's take off our webcam and overlay. It'll look something like that. Right? I'm going to create a folder called B. This is Cogma from the game. We can just move him a little bit. We're going to export again. Okay. Export that, and then we've got Minecraft. Okay. That'll do, that'll do. Now we are going to do a new add scene. We're going to call this stream. Be right back. We're going to add a slideshow. I'm going to go into the Dropbox, Trekka TV, BRB. And it's just going to fade. And then every 10 seconds, it's going to kick to a new image. Okay, that'll work. Whoops. So we're going to change our background color on this guy to white. Change the background color to, what was it? Something like that. Oh no. 60, 0, 32. I think it was something like that. You don't need an outline, because go on the white. We could put that right there. Easy peasy. And then somewhere, I do believe I have a program that's set up to do timers. Let's see if I can find that. Oh well. No reason to mess with that for now. So, let's get ourselves back in the game here. And we're going to bring up Minecraft. I have been working on a Trekka TV skyscraper. But that looks really laggy. Is that really laggy? Oh, that's better. Okay. So, these are going to be cubicles, and I haven't gotten that far yet. Let me kind of give you a walk of the building. This is... So, let me take you outside first. I haven't gotten any of the lobby done, obviously. Okay. So this is the start of a brand new game. This is my Trekka TV. Not necessarily a skyscraper, but a pretty large building. Got windows all the way around. Carving it out of the mountain. Driving in a road outside. Here's our fountain. If you flip the switch down here, and this will actually run into the building at some point, I'll connect the wiring. That'll disable the fountain and turn off all the lights. Those are all connected to the same switch. And that'll run in via redstone. So, fountain is on. So this is the outside. The, like I said, the lobby is absolutely not done, so you can kind of ignore that. And you may be wondering, if you have not messed with it much, my game probably looks different than yours. I've installed some texture packs to make my blocks look a little different. So this is the second floor. And I have the third floor, Studio 3A, Studio 3B. Studio 3B is actually a new studio. These are going to be the cubicles you saw me. This is where I started. These are going to be cubicles for everybody who's working on the news channel, all the reporters and everything. This is the recording studio for it. You have a map of the surrounding area, and these are actual maps all dropped on the wall. This is going to be the news desk right here. And then a green screen for green screen recording should you need it. These are our cameras. Obviously, they're not really cameras. Minecraft doesn't work that way. This is a redstone piston with coal on top of it, button, glass pane, item frame, glass frame. You know, you get it. But it looks kind of like a camera. You can go into the control room. And that light switch controls the lights for the news desk, that one for the weather map area, and this for the green screen. So those three comes off. This controls the lights in the actual control room itself. It should not be across the room. I don't know why it is. That seems like a bad placement, but oh well. Oh, I know why it is. Because you need to run the stuff up, and if I did there, it'd be blocked. Yeah. So this controls the lights in this entire bullpen area. On, off. Backstage area for 3A. And turn on the hallway lights. And we have dressing room with a view. One thing that bothers me about these dressing rooms is you can see to the cubicles. I didn't think that through all the way, so I guess don't really get dressed in your dressing room. Same here. This will, and then this one's the same. And each one has a different color carpet. And this is the blue one. It's a little different because it's on the edge and this curves here. So I had to redesign just a little bit. And then you can use this. This goes to backstage. But I want to show you the studio from the front. Turn off our lights. Save electricity. Oh, and if you play Minecraft and you're like, why are you doing that? Everything's going to spawn in there. I've got mobs disabled right now. So this is Studio 3A. This is a talk show. So here's the control room. Light switch for the control room. Microphone is what it's supposed to look like, controls and that sort of thing. Okay. So this light switch is the house lights. Okay. You can notice there's a safety light right here. When the house lights are on, it goes off. When the house lights are off, it turns on. That way people can see the exit. And then this button lights up the stage. You can see the 2 chairs and the desk. A couple of TV cameras, studio audience here. Studio audience chairs are excruciatingly difficult to find something that actually works. But yeah. So those are the stage lights. If you come here, this takes you backstage where I was showing you before for the dressing rooms. And then this takes you on stage this side. So when you guys come on, you can kind of choose which way they're going to go. Boom. Turn off the lights before we go. Close the door. Okay. So we go up to the next floor. Next floor is, oh, the office level. So when I have guests on, one thing I love the way the lights go down the line. Boop, boop, boop. Everyone's going to get an office if you help me do the show. So you can pick your office. All of them come with a balcony but one. Unfortunately, there's one that's in the very middle and it can't. Each of them have overhead lights inside the office themselves. There's 401, 402. You'll notice that each of them is a little different. They have different flooring, different walls, different light fixtures, right? Just a little different. But each of them have a balcony and a little bit of personality. You can kind of pick the one that you like the most. Once again, different light fixtures. Each of them will have a light switch that operates the lights. So that's what light switches do. So 5 down that way is the only interior one that doesn't have a balcony. Sorry, whoever gets 407. Is the only one that doesn't have an alternate wall because it shares the wall with the stairwell. And that seemed like a bad idea to change the stairwell on one side. This one is like pretty intense actually. So I don't know. You'll have to be like, and you can look down. I don't like, so I've got the game set up to auto step up for when I'm mining, but I do not like it for when I'm walking up to those railings. Like I know this is a game and I'm in creative mode so it won't hurt me if I fall, but it still kind of creeps me out. Light switches, all the light switches also control the lights on the balconies. And this one again has some balcony here, and the balcony has lights. Okay. So yeah, you get the idea. Just a bunch of offices. So as people help me, we've already been here. As people help me jump on the stream, I'm gonna have guests that come on and talk about what they do and why math is important and all that kind of jazz. And maybe help answer some questions. Maybe some other teachers. So, this is Studio 5A. This is supposed to be like a sitcom set. So, over here is just like a break area. And then you have a living room set and a kitchen set. This controls this, but there are actually overhead lights in all these places that are controlled by stage lights to light up the set for when you're shooting. And then you have the 2 bedrooms, one here one here. Then those stage lights are back here in this hallway where you can't see. Boom. Boom. And then this is for bedroom, the head hallway. Okay. So stage lights and all those things so that you can shoot. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Actually, if you want to take a look, I left these open so you could kind of see the patterning. We had to come across here for the outside because if we come this way, which is the more sensible way, these get lit up. We don't want that. So these lights have to take the long way around. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So this is studio, 5A? Basically, this is our 5th floor studio. And then up on the 6th floor is the presidential suite, or I guess the CEO suite or whatever, I don't know. This is the lobby. Then you have a light switch, of course, for the hallway. You have a boardroom here where people can meet and discuss board-related things. And then obviously the president, which I will claim for now, in that light. Do I have that elephant in 2 places? I bet you I do. The laptop with the little mouse there. Desk. This also has a balcony. It's on the very top floor, so this is kind of a long way out. And windows so you can look around and see how high you are. Bookshelves, because books are amazing. Anyone who tells you differently is not your friend. Books are awesome. Closing that out, turn that off. Oh, and a rooftop garden. So this is in Extreme Hills. If you play a lot of Minecraft, you'll know what I mean. If you don't, that's fine. Different areas have different weather patterns. This happens to be in one that snows a lot. So it's got benches you can sit on. So I don't plant flowers out here because I realized we were in Extreme Hills after I made it. And I was not going to redo the whole building, so you just get a snowy garden. Okay. And downhill. So that is what we got so far. That's what we're working on. I will probably start next week's session with another tour. Because we'll probably start, I'm going to try to get ourselves a guest. I might actually pull, my wife works on neuroscience and she does research on video gaming and lots of things like that. So I might have her talk to us about math, or I might try to pull Mr. Daly or somebody. So if you see Mr. Daly, encourage him to do it. So, I guess while we're still here with the remainder of our time, I am going to work on our cubicles. Lights. Okay, so we've got 2 options. We could pop in blue stained glass here. Make it look like that. That feels pretty good. Like, not like it's too much, you know? So some of these cubicles over here are a little smaller. And I am just missing today. That's embarrassing. Some of you may not have math questions as you're watching. If you have little brothers or sisters or anything that are taking a different math class, feel free to share their questions as well. We can take a look and draw and explore them together. Since we are using Twitter, you can always send pictures of your questions as well. So don't hesitate to do that. Okay, so we've got our cubicles kind of built. We want to put desks in them. Got lightwood floors. So what I'm thinking makes sense is to let's do the dark. So you could do it like this. Be one way. And then I guess the question is, do you want someone looking at the front of you or the back of you? So, here's the other option. We could actually do dividers here, and just leave the blue towards the front. And here's the benefit of that. We could make them look a little bit like laptops by throwing in, like computers, by throwing one of those up on the wall, and then doing a it's called a stone pressure plate there. So like we could kind of make it look like you have a computer, which would be something. But then do these look better? And I feel like they do. So let's nix that idea. That'll fall off by itself. Ready, set, go. The other option is let people decide if they want an office or a cubicle, and then they can build their own cubicle however they want. And that might be what we do. So we may just leave these empty for now. So as we go downstairs, we actually need to finish our stairs, and we gotta kind of decide where we want our next floor to be, right? So do we want it to come down to here? And we could actually drop this into the floor a little bit if we didn't think that was tall enough, even though it's probably tall enough. So that would give us an awful large floor, which might be nice. Gives the chance to do some interesting stuff. So let's, as an example, so what happens if we go up straight? So we need 2 more. Okay, that's the line. Cool. So that's 1, 2, 3. Maybe we'll actually put it down to here. Okay. So this is where we want it to land. And we'll come over on this side. Drop our stairs in. Ah! Really? Why is it so hard today? So we've got a problem, right? We have these two that you won't be able to use. So one thing we could do is set up a border here beside them with like in blocks, and then drop a fence on top of that. Something like, just as an example, like that. Though when you're coming up, that really feels too short. So it'd have to be more like that. Okay, that feels better. And then you could still see out. We could just leave this open so that the light could come in. It's not an ideal way to do it though. So we kind of have to figure out what we want our ideal thing to look like. The other option is to move this against the wall. You could even have this curve around the other way when it comes down, and then churn out that way. That might be how I do it. Let's try that. So let's talk about a couple of the math ideas we're using. When you're spacing out stairs, especially when you have like half a thing like this, you're using fractional sense, you are using lots and lots and lots of geometry. You know, there are so many wonderful math skills that you work on doing stuff like this that you don't think of as big math. You know, that you think of as maybe design, or you think of as maybe like having an eye for how things should look. But a lot of them have, their foundations are absolutely math. It's kind of the cool thing about being a math teacher is that I get to claim everything as ours, right? Everything's math in some way or another. And break those undersides of the stairs. And this will be the wall. Okay. Then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we'll just continue on down. So let's see how we will get. Let's see how close we got. So we did not count out the number we wanted to go before we turned. So let's just pop this over here. We want it to be relatively close over there, right? We don't want it to be way, way away. But as you can see, we're not going to be anywhere near them, right? So this puts us at a conundrum. If we continue this staircase just like we did, this would be our last level. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 away from the wall. The problem with that is we really only want to be 3-ish away from the wall. So we got an extra 9. So let's stop and let's think. How many of these stairs do we want to take away from going this way in order to have them turn and go back the other way? And if you said about 4 or 5, that's true. Right? Probably about 4. The problem with that is that if you see on this side, this curves down to give you some head clearance. When we're over here, we don't have that. Now, do we have plenty of head clearance here? Absolutely. But what about 4 up? 1, 2, 3, 4. This feels pretty cramped compared to everywhere else in our building, right? This doesn't feel... And is this a fine amount of clearance? Absolutely, right? So let's presume our guy is 5 foot tall, 6 foot tall. This is 3 up, so it'd be 9 foot. Right, 9 foot is plenty of clearance. It just doesn't fit when you look at these ceilings, right? So we don't want to go that high. So what I'm actually thinking about doing is leaving this where it is and then turning this into something else. Turning this into its own little room up here. So that's one way of handling this. Is it ideal? Probably not. But the thing about the way that we design buildings like this and you'll notice this when you go into cities oftentimes as well, is that the base of the building is taller than the building as it goes up. Many of the floors, if you look from the top and zoom down, you'll see the lower the floor is, the wider the base of it is, right? You got more footprint underneath you. We put in some decorational columns, but mostly, to make it feel like everything is supported and everything is designed and sturdy. In Minecraft, really, we could just have it floating in the air. There is no such thing as physics for the blocks, just for our character. Our character, if we were in survival, would just fall to the ground. But for the blocks, they don't have the same physics. So they're not beholden to those laws of gravity and that sort of thing. So this will continue to, just like before, kind of block our doorway. And then we've kind of got to make a choice about what we're going to be doing over here, right? So we'll get to that. I'm going to finish our staircase down here to our ground floor. And you see that this goes over to here, so it's got one more row on it. And then we always do 3 by 3. You don't have to. That's just what this building has been doing. And then connect the stairs so that it doesn't feel crazy. Now, this will put us down 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So we're going to be down 2 below the start. And you might look over here and say, but we enter right there. That's going to put us below the floor. And that's okay. This is just ground. We can dig down into it to build our first floor. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So if we want to do that, we can. If we want to just extend this down, like this, thinking, okay, well, there's nothing, we can go 2 more and hit the ground and just do the base here. And then to get from the 2nd floor to the 3rd floor, it's a bigger climb. That's okay too. Doesn't really matter. In fact, this would make a fine height for a floor. Problem is that puts us right in the middle of those windows. So I'm not comfortable in doing this. I do have to put in some thought about how do I want to make this look. One solution is always like we had said before, to do something like that, right? As I fall right off the back of the staircase. See, that's poorly designed. So we could do something like that and leave this very open. And do this as sort of like a balcony level on the 1st floor. And maybe even do like 2 balcony levels, maybe here in the center. That might be a possibility. So we'll kind of think about that moving in the future. Okay. So I think we got some good tests in for the stream. Things seem to work. So we'll play with them more. After next week, we'll actually start advertising and try to get the stream to work next week. So, thank you all. If you did tune in, thank you for tuning in. And have an awesome rest of your night. Do you want to see what it looks like when you drop off? Or are you afraid of heights? If you're afraid of heights, look away. Nah. Seems a little crazy. Let's see if we can find a place where we can jump down onto the... No, let's jump down on the tree over here. Jump down to... And go back inside. Okay. This has been Mr. Miller with Trek TV, signing off. Take care, everybody.